Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction to Tower of God Chapter 620 or Season 3 Episode 203. I'm actually not really sure what we're going to get in this one. I mean, I haven't been spoiled, so I haven't been sure for the past few weeks, but I feel like for the past few weeks it's like, okay, I don't think we're ending the flashback yet. I've had just like a general idea of where we were going, just a general trajectory, but now after last chapter it's like, is Enkidu going with Amizu off to wherever V's group is? Are they going to try to trick her by him pretending to be Michia? Are they going to trick her into staying? Are they going to absolutely force her into staying? Like, I don't exactly know where this flashback goes from here, and I don't think we're leaving the flashback yet. I don't think we're going out of the flashback yet. So that's crazy. I will say, before continuing, that I recorded the anime reaction before this, but I recorded earlier today actually, but I didn't have time to edit it before the new chapter came out, and it's, kind of more important to me to like immediately get this out as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna edit it probably after I do all of this stuff, and then tomorrow, first thing tomorrow, I'll post the anime reaction. So yeah, I have already seen that. I've been watching a lot of reactions from anime onlys. It's been very, very fun. It's been nice seeing some channels get back into it, like Lala Fluff Bunny or Yo Boy Roshi, who I have watched for years and years, probably before the first season of Tower of God. I watched each of them, a bunch of new channels. I think some of my favorites of the new channels that I saw were Bluist and Sola, who had like less than 100 subscribers or less than 1,000, something like that. Either way, it was like crazy low, so go check either of them out if you're interested. As don't tell Sola about Namo. As always, whenever you go, I like always shout out anytime I see somebody new reading or anything. As always, if you go to anybody from my videos and like go check out what they're doing, don't spoil them, don't be annoying, don't like just be kind, be cool, obviously, you already know. But all of that was really, really fun. I would also really love to shout out, I've been saying for a long, long time, and I even did the first chapter like a year ago or something, but I only posted it privately for people. I've been saying for a long time, I really want to do a Tower of God in Japanese read through. I really want to do that, so maybe I'll finally get to that soon. But Amy Angel had said, in some of her streams, it'd be cool to do a Spanish read through, and she did one stream earlier this week. I want to shout that out, of the Spanish Tower of God read through. That was very, very fun, very good. I loved that. And so if she did more of that, I would totally watch more of that. That's like so fun to me. So I loved that. So I wanted to shout that out. Anything else? I guess in my reaction I recorded earlier, when like Miseng was on screen, I was like, Miseng top 5. So it's something that I kind of got thinking about watching some of like other people's streams and stuff. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's what the character poll is for, but like one of Amy Angel's streams I was watching, she said her favorite characters were Kuneye and Joaquin, but in one of those like villain, like you love them, but they're a really great villain, so you kind of hate them because they're a great villain kind of ways. And Dr. Bonehead, I think, always says like his favorites are like Wang Nan and Yiwa. Ron Kan, I don't know, is maybe just said Kun Ron, ironically enough. So I'm actually really, really curious at what like some of your favorites are, but like these people who have really, really been into Tower of God, just talking about it for like an hour or multiple hours a week for so long, all these Tower of God content creators, I'd like to know what their like top 5s are, just off the top of their head. That was just something I was thinking about earlier today before recording, and some of you as well, because I see a lot of you, not just in my comments, but in everybody else's comments in chat. So I'd be really curious as to some of your just top 5 off the top of your head, because off the top of my head, if I don't really think about it too much and just go off the top of my head, I would say my top 5 are like Joaquin, Yuhan Sung, I'd say Joaquin, Yuhan Sung, Yama, Hackney, and Miseng are like my top 5, just off the top of my head. If I thought about it more, I might be like, what about Elaine? Even more than that, what about Warian? What about Rak? Even though, again, Rak hasn't always had the best showing in the series, there are other ones that I would consider, but the top five I said are like my top five just off the top of my head, just pure instinct, and I'd be curious at what other people's are. Also, I've got a collab that I'm cooking up. It might come later this week, which is why I'm saying it here, but it might not be until next week or even the week after. I've got a couple people together, assembling the Avengers and everything. I've got a couple people together, and I want to do a ranking of Bomb's regular teammates. So I'm going to do that sometime soon, sometime within the next few weeks, maybe even late this week. I still need to see when everyone is available at the same time. I still need to work all that out, and I don't want to say exactly who, just in case anybody can't make it later on. But I'm excited to be able to do that. That's something I really want to do because of this flashback. Because this flashback has me thinking of like Zahard, then he has his 10 family heads, and then there are the other members of the team that seem to be pretty tight with them, like Merchia, Amizu, Icarus, I guess, Quadrado, this red multi-eyed guy. So there are people that were part of the team that seem to be tight with the family heads, but not necessarily like, they're not the family heads. They're not irregulars like the rest of them. And that's made me curious of like how we would all rank, like not just strength-wise, but how close they are to Bomb, how loyal they are to Bomb. Strength, I guess, plays a part of it because how high of a ceiling do they have? How far along can they really get up there with Bomb when he's challenging like Zahard and family heads and stuff? So I really want to talk about that because, like, inspired by this flashback and how cool the relationship has been to see between these people that climbed as part of Zahard's team. So I want to do that sometime soon as well. But with this big ol' Haku intro out of the way, I think I should just go ahead and start reading so that I can discuss this as I read through it. I am so hyped because, yeah, like I said, this has probably been the most lost I've felt going into a chapter in a good little while since we started this flashback. I really don't know what to expect this week out of any of the weeks. Like going into last week, I was like, okay, something's gonna go, like we knew that something was gonna go wrong at this party. And we had some hints as to what it may or may not have been. Actually, that would have been the week before last. Last week we were going into it knowing we're gonna get some Merchia Arie Hone stuff, and like we at least had stuff like that. We had the characters talking with each other. All of that was really great. But like going into this week, I'm the most lost on if we're like actually going to have Amizu leave for a little bit, if she's going to be forced to stay, if she's going to be convinced to stay. We have a violence warning, but last week we got a violence warning and literally nothing happened. We've had Tiara getting her head taken off with no warning. We had Yama's arm getting all messed up and exposed bone with no violence warning. And yet last week we had a violence warning, and I really don't remember there being anything worth it other than like maybe Hone's shoes getting shredded. So who knows if this even means anything. We see the crane here, and I forget what the crane was called in the scans. I always watch Naya's videos after I do my own, so when I watch Naya's videos, I get a taste of like what the scan translation is. So I get to see this translation here, then I watch Naya's video where I will see the scans, and they called the bird something specifically, but I don't remember what the specific name was. I mean, the specific name just meant like giant crane or whatever, but still, it would be cool to just call it by like a cool name instead of just crane. We have the two of them flying on it. We saw this at the end of last week. Traumaray looking on. Amizu, where are you going? Tower of God, Season 3, Traumaray's Past, Part 5. More shots of them. Did you really station a warp fleet there? Yeah, just trust me. That was the only place around here where I could hide it. Okay. I parked the warp ship on that floating island. She looks up. Ah, I see. Over there. Okay, that's the island. They land and disembark. This way. Oh, is she gonna get some, like, is that island important and she's gonna get some kind of flashbacks and decide to stay of her own will? I You know, I thought she might be forced to stay, I thought she might be tricked into staying, but if she decides to stay just on her own, I didn't expect that. This is a very ominous looking shot of this building. I remember this floating island. This is where I first settled down and began living with Traumarai. She clenches her fist. Is this going to be him, or... She looks surprised. It is. Traumarai. Oh, I should have known. So, you had me brought here. It's a really good panel of her face. Like, that looks really, really, really good. How could you think of leaving without even saying goodbye, Amizu? Sorry, for some reason I was like, oh my god, did I forget to put the filter up? But no, it's fine. I had to double check. I knew something wasn't right on the way here. And he starts changing back. I see what's going on now. That's Enkidu. Why did you leave without telling me? Come on, let's go back together. He holds his hand out. Traumarai, let's go home. Traumarai, Amizu, I understand your desire to leave home and venture out into the world, but we already finished climbing the tower that day. So again, I feel like Amizu and Mircea and V and Arlen, they don't feel like they've finished. They don't feel like it's over. Like, to them, it's not over. That's why Mircea's like, you're the ones who quit. You're the ones who left. Like, we're the same. But Zahard and the family heads and the ones loyal to them, for them, it's like, after that day, with whatever happened during their split and everything, Traumarai's like, it's finished. It's over. We're done climbing. Like, the word finished is just so load-bearing here. Where it's not like, okay, we gave up, we couldn't go any higher. It's not like we stopped climbing the tower that day. He's saying they finished climbing the tower that day, as if in their mind it's like, yeah, it's over. We climbed, we established our kingdom, we did all we were meant to do. That wasn't my decision. I never agreed to that. Don't be silly. The gate is already closed. No, it's not over yet. We're going to open the gate. Once more. Are you saying you want to betray Zahard and us? No, that can't be. You remember what we suffered that day, don't you? Again, what did they suffer? Is that when something happened to Icarus? Maybe. The people who worshipped us like gods while we climbed the tower suddenly turned against us once they found out that we had closed the gate. They bombarded us with curses and committed the most beastly atrocities. See, again, without, like, closer, without more like, this is so vague. Without being much more specific, I don't really have many thoughts on this. So, like, I want to say, like, oh, the cursed people, or whatever else. Or just the people of the tower in general who worship them as they were going up. And then they're like, oh, the gate's closed, now we're all going to turn on you. Or are they talking about their actual teammates, the majority of them, plus V and Arlen? But again, with this wording, that makes a little bit less sense. And again, what are the beastly atrocities? What did they do? Like, what could they do that's so awful to family heads? And again, they're doing that in response to them deciding not to climb. That's not a part of the reason why they stopped climbing. This is just after that still. What in the world did we do to deserve that? If it weren't for us, those losers would have never climbed anywhere in the tower, let alone reaching the top. So again, this makes you think, okay, maybe the people who did climb with them. Are you really going to open the gate and begin climbing the tower again like they want? That's right. I don't forgive them for what they did, but ultimately I belong with them. We share the same goal. I hate to admit it, but it's true. That's why I first agreed to join you all. I couldn't bring myself to forgive them, but with time, I became less certain of my decision, and I realized this isn't right. Just because you don't like them, that doesn't give you the right to close the tower's gate on them. I need to know why our generation isn't allowed to reach the top of the tower. I can't go on living anymore without knowing the truth. There was an interesting theory in one of my comments at one point. I'm not exactly sure who it was, so I'm sorry for not crediting you, but somebody saying, what if Zahard is a Moses-like figure who led the people up the tower to this promised land, but he wasn't allowed to go into the promised land himself. And, you know, with that story, Moses would die and the people would go into the promised land without him. And I guess the old generation of people would die off and it would take a new generation to come in to the promised land. But if we're doing this from Zahard establishing an empire, maybe there was something like that. Maybe Zahard couldn't go to the next floor, but everybody else could keep climbing without him, and Zahard decided, if I can't get to the next floor, no one can. And so he sealed things off. I don't personally, I just think that's an interesting new take on it that I hadn't necessarily heard before. I don't really think that's my theory or my guess. I think my theory or my best guess would be something along the lines of Zahard's not a good guy. We have seen him do some really bad stuff, but it might be a lesser of two evils things. It might be something where he's made himself into a bad guy, where whatever's on the next floor, that angry administrator that isn't friendly or whatever, maybe whatever's on the next floor is so dangerous, so evil, so bad that Zahard has turned himself into a villain to protect people from whatever's at the higher floors. Maybe the higher floors just are that dangerous, or there could just be a situation where whatever was on the higher floors, we know that the Thrissas are somehow related to the administrators. We don't know what the Red Horn thing is. Is the Red Horn thing administrator relative thing that took over Zahard's body, much like Enkidu takes over bodies? And the original Zahard, the adventurer, died when his body was claimed by the Red Horn thing and became king. There's a lot of options. And we still, again, without knowing the truth, we still are so far from knowing the truth. Because I climbed the tower with you, and I have a right to know. I don't mean to sound like I'm criticizing you, Traumerei. All I want to say is that I don't agree with you anymore. We're too different now. I can't be with you. I want to see this journey to its end, even if I have to fight you all. So again, she just feels like the journey isn't over, and she wants to get to the end of it. Whereas, from the Ten Family Heads' perspective, they're like, nah, it's done. Like, it might be because they've lost memories of that day when they all split and sealed off the top floor or whatever, but they view it as, yeah, it's finished. We're done with our climb. I'm leaving. Traumerei. And we have a flashback. Am I lonely? No, of course not. You're all I need. I want to keep living here with you. Let's not think about anything scary or complicated anymore. All I want to worry about is how we're going to decorate this pretty home. What to wear tomorrow, and what to eat for each meal. This is what Traumerei wants to hear from her. Am I okay, you ask? Of course. I'm happy, Traumerei. This is the life he wants. That's what he wants her to say. That's what he wants her to be. Just sitting here with him, enjoying the place. But it's not what he gets. I want to live together like this, forever. You said you wanted to live together forever. Or is that an actual flashback to when they started living there? I guess maybe it is, from before she changed her mind. Okay. Remember, Amizu? And we have a whoosh sound effect. She starts crying after looking conflicted. I'm sorry. That's just not possible anymore. You've changed too much. I can't stand to see you like this any longer. Because now I know, or because I know now. I know what you do in that new house of yours. And what you and Zahard want. What is that? Is that the experiments on stuff? With animals and stuff? I think we should go our separate ways. And she says it to him personally this time. It was all just talk, no more than an excuse. Enkidu knew Traumerei hadn't changed. He still loved Amizu. The same as always. Amizu was the one who had changed. Her feelings for Traumerei changed, and now she wanted to run away. Enkidu could feel rage boiling in him, an uncontrollable, unstoppable rage. I'm leaving, Traumerei. Take care. It was too much for him to bear. Enkidu, look after Traumerei for me. He couldn't contain his rage. It looks like he starts forming a weapon. He pulls his knife from before. We have a slash any longer. Is Traumerei going to turn on him, and that's what... Is he actually going to take out... So we got some options. A, Enkidu actually takes out Amizu. B, Traumerei stops him, and that is kind of the big coup de grace in really, really splintering Enkidu and Traumerei's relationship. Or, I guess C, Amizu stands up for herself and stops him, and we actually see what she can do. We have splattering, crunching, blood covering him. And that's a squawking noise. When he finally came to his senses and opened his eyes. So he did actually attack her, and Traumerei didn't involve himself. He's panting. He saw Amizu lying there. Her body had been brutally mutilated by his blade. The only sound in his ears was the crane's sad, bitter song of mourning. So Enkidu did this. This doesn't seem like... I don't know, is this when Traumerei is distraught and is like, I'm getting rid of this memory? Is this that moment? It doesn't really seem like it, but it might be. The heart-wrenching melody brought him back to reality, but the fact that he blacked out is suspicious to me. Like, it makes me, like I don't... Because even after what she said, it feels like, would Traumerei have stopped Enkidu? Or is Traumerei the one that turned? Since he blacked out, did Traumerei even control Enkidu? Like what's Traumerei's reaction to all this? A moment later, his whole body was overcome with a terrible chill. Enkidu had lost control. What have I done? He slumps down. He couldn't hold back. And Traumerei looks surprised. The fury within him. And that's where it ends? I feel like I've been told nothing. It was a very good chapter, and so much happened, yet I'm just like, is she actually just dead from this? And Traumerei just stood there? Like, while this all happened? This feels so weird. Okay. Well, I guess I'm stuck. I guess I'm stuck having to wait a week. Well, there we go for this week. Thank you for watching. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very, 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 very good chapter and all. But yeah, that's all we get. We have to wait another week. This is painful. I say we. I mean non-scan readers, like weekly official readers, we have to wait another week. Some of you don't. I do. Thank you so much for watching, though. Let me remove this so you can see the credits here while I talk. I did think it was very, very good. I think these characters are good. I think their story's been good. If this is the crescendo, the big climax or whatever, it feels weird. It's a weird feeling one. For all of this character stuff to just be like, yeah, he lost control and attacked her and beat her up, and Trauma Ray stood around, and it's a weird scene. It feels like a weird scene to me. But we'll see next week, I guess. Like if you did like the video. I'm really just rushing through this outro. I don't feel like I have much to say that I didn't say while I was reading through or in the long intro or anything. So yeah, I'll have to wait a week. In the meantime, I'll be watching everybody else's reactions. I'll be watching some anime reactions, and I'll be working on a lot of stuff. But either way, that's it. Thank you so much for being here for this one. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's chapter, my first thoughts and reaction and all that. Subscribe for more, Tower of God, and much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks down below, it'd be appreciated. Or if you want to help support the channel and get One Piece videos a little bit early and get your name at the end of every video, then you can just hit join down below to become a member, or go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you to people who are already patrons and channel members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono, Abyss Knight, JA, and The D-Ban, Jerryton Students, David Link, Stephen Folded Goal, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element, Pate Diallo. And I just now realized when reading all this out that I forgot to make One Piece public this morning. I wasn't even thinking about that kind of thing. Whoops. Wow. So yeah, there's that. Either way, thank you for watching this. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time.